Okay, let's start with the first panel section of today's Genre Discovery Day, focused on heavy music. I'm happy to have here Michael Berberian from Season of Mist.
Hi.
And Björn Meyer from Odyssey Management. Guys, just start with a short intro. Björn?
Hi everyone, Björn from Odyssey Music Network. We run a management company, artist management company with bands like Apocalyptica, Royal Republic, The Halo Effect, Wheel, and a few others. And on top of that, and that's actually my daily business, we run a label services division, an e-commerce division. We do some digital marketing, social media management, basically a periphery to what we do on artist management, but it's not limited to that.
Thank you. And how did you end up in this special e-commerce division of music business?
Well, the DNA has always been artist management. That's how it all started 20 years ago. Excuse me, when my partner started this company. Yeah. And we built this, what I just called a periphery, basically out of selfish reasons, needs, which we thought might be a good fit. It started with the label services division, basically on the back of Apocalyptica, who got their rights back from Sony and Universal. And both of us, the partners in the company, with having a label background, we thought, okay, I think we can do this to much more benefit of the band ourselves, rather than signing another deal with Universal or Sony.
Yeah, so instead of outsourcing it, you developed your own company a bit more? Exactly.
We were making the chain of, we call it. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
We made it a little bit longer on our end. So yeah. Plus, we all of a sudden had an opportunity to do the first steps for newcomer bands on our own. We're talking 2012 here, so yeah. There was no TuneCore or CD Baby around, and so we built our own artist development platform with that.
Yeah, and when your partner started the management company, which phase was it for Apocalyptica?
Well, lucky enough for him, it was right before they made it big, especially in the US, with radio hits, especially I Don't Care and I'm Not Jesus, both with massive features on Corey Taylor and Adam Gontier. So yeah, he entered the management relationship right before their peak, basically.
Yeah, so the company developed together with the top artists, and
yeah, they've been a constant in the company, definitely.
Okay, we're gonna come back to this topic later. Michael, how you got into music business, and what was the reason to start Season of Mist?
Well, it was just a student hobby. Just released the CD in '95, and I got caught and got addicted and never stopped, basically.
Which was your first release?
It was a Swedish band called Oxypregats with like the guitar player from At the Gates, and the first release was already completely fucked up. It was this space opera rock and roll black metal. It made no sense. Yeah. It made no sense.
But you were a fan of this nonsense.
Yeah. Well, it was a student hobby, and like every parent, my parents, you got to finish your study. But at some point, it's like your thing is getting bigger than whatever your study is going to lead you to. So just focus on this, and I did. Yeah, so that's It was not a plan to become a professional. It just started, and it worked out.
Yeah, I think that's quite
that's how
typical.
It works. I mean, for the anecdote, the owner of Nuclear Blast started his career by selling Morbid Angel bootleg from the back of his car in front of concerts, so it leads to everything.
Yeah, it became white later.
Yeah, he made it. We could say he made it up, yeah.
Yeah. And did you have a contract with your first artist?
What do you mean, contract?
Did you sign a contract?
Oh yeah, well, it was a shitty one-page deal, but any lawyer would laugh at. But yeah, there was some kind of, there was no email, there was a fax.
Fax, yeah. I did have the fax machine. I remember
Yeah.
that. So much hated it.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard about how you made the first big step with the label. How was that signature with Mayhem?
No, Mayhem.
Mayhem, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
Tell the
part of
guys
a.
more.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've told the story a million times. But yeah, that first, it was like in the right order, like smuggling money through a border, then getting into a fight, blood, and it was just exactly as you would imagine. I've told the story too many times, but
Yeah.
it was very, very chaotic. Nobody was in their right mind, and it was chaos. But that's, I guess, the nature of this business is you learn to bring order to chaos.
Yeah, and that was quite normal in the 90s, I guess. So I was,
Yes.
yeah, I started in the late 90s, so I remember.
I mean, we got old. I mean, most of the bands got old as well now, so we're a little bit more reasonable, but
yeah,
not all of them.
The reason I just brought this topic because both of you have started working with quite a major name of your genres, like decades ago. And how did it help to build your roster or build a strategy on signing more artists, Björn?
Well, I joined the company a little bit later, but so to be precise on that, you should ask my partner on that. But it definitely helps attracting other talent if you have 1, 2, 3, or even more successful artists, because it creates a pull factor towards you, right? It's the same with a label. It's the same with a booking agency. They see, okay, these guys or this company can create some success, or at least connect the dots, so it's gonna be a success. If you just deal with, let's say, semi-successful artists, you always have to push yourself into something, so yeah, it definitely helped having a big name on the roster.
Yeah,
right
this
away.
opens the doors for other artists as well.
Yeah, and also with other companies, they look at you differently rather than you're just starting out with an idea, right? So, yeah.
So I guess it was similar for you. Like all the black metal bands wanted to be at Season of Mist at certain point.
For a while, then it was all the death metal bands because we signed Morbid Angel. I always saw it as a strategy because sometimes you need to overpay some bands. Like it's what they do in. If you look at, for example, fashion industry, they do the défilé, like you have Dior or Chanel showing their expensive collection. They're not making money with that. It's to build the brand, and then they sell perfume. Yeah. Like, so we overpaid, because signing a big band is just about how big the check is going to be. So you can sign a few big bands, and then they will attract some other bands where you actually... But I prefer, personally, instead of signing big bands, I prefer building bands. So I'm kind of proud that the big bands that we have on the label nowadays, that whether it's Heilung or Ivor or Saucerfear or Vatain or bands like that, we brought them from zero to where they are now. We built them. Signing a big act, the job's already done.
Yeah. But it helps you.
It helps bringing them. It's you have to pay for it one time to prove that you can do the job.
And then you can build the other artists.
Yes,
from zero.
I agree. Building it from scratch, it's most fun. It's more lucrative. It's the king exercise, really.
Yeah, and having some big names or building up some big names is the attraction.
Yeah.
Okay, about attraction. So I guess both of you guys receive tons of applications from bands to work together or release stuff.
It's actually less than you would think of.
It's more than you would think of.
Okay, debate, please.
We get about
debate.
4,000 a year. That's more than 10 a day.
You're the more attractive brand than we are.
No, it's because we're labeled, but like 10 a day, it's impossible for me to follow. Impossible for me to listen.
Yeah, but how you have a just a work group or you have a company, so many employees. So how do you process these
Yeah, but
applications?
nobody pays for you to listen to demos. So if you do that properly, it's really time consuming. So what we've built this shared demo box, and when people feel like it, they can just go through it and they filter it and they delete whatever is not good. And sometimes the stuff that is good will get flagged, and then I will get a message on Teams or whatever saying you should check this one. But yeah, there's a filter process now because it's just too many. It's just too many. And how to get noticed from that void, it's the Mariana Trench, that demo pal, that email thread. It's really like, I don't know how much, last time I checked it was maybe 4,000 unread emails. It's really, we can talk about this later, but it's not the way to go to get noticed. No, definitely it's not.
But this was the old school way of getting signed.
Yeah, before the overwhelming mass of demos, because I don't know if that's because the label's more known, but what we get now compared to what we got 10 years ago, the numbers are not the same. It's massive.
I think it also has to do with like the, what do you want to call it, the democratization of production facilities.
Yeah.
I mean, I always have to laugh about it when some, let's say, mediocre bands are raving about how less money they make on Spotify. In the 80s, you wouldn't have even been able to record your music because it was unaffordable.
Yeah, I mean, Spotify is more like a promo channel.
Yeah, way more music gets recorded and sometimes even released. I think that plays a part in that as well.
Yeah, but if someone approaches you, what's the point at your company to which attracts a band?
Well, it depends. From the artist management side, it's a little bit different because artist management, you can only scale up to a certain point because you want to do justice to every artist in your roster. And even though you can hire more artist managers, it still comes down to the people at the top there who need to be involved at some points, and the day has 24 hours. So it's either when it's a newcomer, there needs to be a clear vision where this has to go, and sometimes you just don't have that. Somebody else has that and it gets successful. That's okay. In other cases, or in most cases, we enter the field a little bit at a later stage, where first tours have been done, first music has been released, and there you can see some momentum, and where we can really professionalize the setup. I think that's what we're really good at in the management team.
Yeah, but it's a common task for both of you that if you sign an artist, you have to build up the artist, build up the name, build up the strategy together, because this is where you can really help for a good artist that help that vision make more clear, do it with more steps, define more goals. So Michael, how does it look first meeting with a band? Who from your label which part of the label will be involved in the first meeting with the band?
That would be me.
Yeah?
Yeah, that would be me. First meeting with a band is usually me. And then I try to talk to the artist and see, it's really a conversation. Like, what do they need? What do they have figured out already? I mean, you were yesterday with, I can't pronounce his name. Yes, what's his name?
Gergő.
Yeah. So I tried to figure out what he needed. Like, what can I bring to him that he doesn't have figured out for himself, because he already has a name. So, like, what, can I help you outside of your country? Do you have publishing figured out? Do you even know what publishing means? Do you have merch figured out? Like, what do you need from us? Because basically a label and everything around it, because I'm not only a label, I'm also a booking agency, also a merch company. I see it as, when you build a house, let's say you want to build your house and you're a very handyman. You can build your house from the ground to the top. I can't fucking do that.
Yeah, and
I
it's
need
a
to
lot of
hire
work.
an architect, I need to hire a plasterer, I need to hire a painter. Like, that's what the label is going to do. He's going to help you build, he's going to help you figure out all these departments and bring them together. And the label is basically the architect, the one who's going to make sure that distribution works with digital, works with marketing, works with promotion, that everything works as one, in one direction. That's what we do. So when you talk to a band, you figure out, okay, you know nothing, you need everything, or you got some shit figured out and you just need this part, and this part is where I can help you with. So basically the first conversation is understanding what the band needs, how far in their career they already are, what they figured out, and what they need help with. Some artists are completely, like, they're just good at art and they need help with everything. And you have some cases where the artist is incredibly business savvy and knows what they're doing, and you're just basically there to service them because they have it figured out already. So it's really about adapting. It's really about adapting. That's it.
Yes, yes. Do you agree with this, Björn, or what's your vision?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I think there may be some variables that are different that we're looking at, but in the basics are the same. Yeah, it's the same mindset behind it. Yeah.
Okay, so once you have a deal, you have a management. The band has a management, has a label, and now they want to release. You know, we have the album release. Can you release it tomorrow because it's ready, it's mastered. We have a cover as well. You know, they keep asking this one. But what's the release strategy, or how to reach the perfect release date? Was this strategy behind this? Because I think that's interesting for most of the artists here.
Well, usually it takes for us 6 months to release an album minimum. You need at least 6 months because there's some old rules in the US distribution, especially, that they want to have a stock in their warehouse a month before release date, because US is a big country, so you need to ship from everything from California to New York. So historically speaking, it takes, if you're gonna have a worldwide physical distribution, you need time to cover everything. So you need to have a product in stock long before the release date. You need to have your video strategy. It takes 6 months to release an album. You can't release it tomorrow. It makes no sense.
Yeah, just this is what many artists keep.
They don't
asking.
realize. Yeah, they think it's just magic and it's done.
Yeah, because they spend maybe 2 or 3 years by making the album, and they want to reach the audience.
I mean, just think about it. During COVID, it took a year to print vinyls. So how do you release it tomorrow if you need a year to print vinyls? That's not the case anymore. But yeah, you need to print and you need to spread it. So.
Yeah, and so you need to have the physical and the digital at the same time.
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, if you have a digital before, people have, like, you want to capture the moment when it's hot. If people are getting used to the album and they heard it 100 times on digital, why would they buy the physical then?
Yeah.
So no, it has to be synchronized.
I agree.
Okay.
Well, when it comes to artist development, I oftentimes recommend, let's not think about the album right now. Build an audience first, and then we move into an album phase. So to build an audience, I think a single strategy in a lot of cases makes more sense.
And what's the best single strategy right now? So just release singles, include them in the streaming, in the album, or just don't think. I know it's genre specific, so it's a hard question. But
yeah, and it's very band specific as well,
it's
because not all bands have the same pace and output. You know, some are able to produce themselves because they have their own studio. They might be able to have a single ready every other month. That might be helpful in genres which are consumed more by a younger audience, to build a digital following first. Of course, there are genres that are so physical still, and very album-driven, that you may think about an album right away, but still you need some singles to lead to it. Yeah.
okay. Now, if you can remind yourself about a really good memory of artist development or album strategy? Which was it recently, which was really pleasure and joy working with? Which band was that, and why was it successful for you? Why was it good for the band?
I think a very good example is a band called Royal Republic from Sweden. They have been with various labels before. They've been with us for management since the start. And during COVID, they were just out of a deal. And touring was obviously cancelled. And my partner came to me and said, like, okay, we need to do something. That we need to keep them active, to keep them mentally healthy. That was one part. And we don't have anything going on right now. They're out of a deal. Let's just use our label service and do some singles. So they produced some singles, 6 in total. We did a video for each one of those. And for most of them, we did some European radio PR. I mean, they can be played at rock radio all across the world, basically, with more subgenre bands like black metal. This doesn't apply, of course. So we worked them with single through the COVID phase, and then they said, this worked so well, can we just do the record here, the new album? Please don't shop us around anymore. This is the setup we want. And obviously, you know, I'm flattered by that. That's the biggest compliment you can get from a band. But we also took these 6 singles, made an EP out of it, and had a second EP with 6 live tracks from Paris, France. And we called it the double EP, made a vinyl out of it, and we sold a decent amount of these records, and most of them through the band's web shop, which was more lucrative for the band by direct, far, by cutting out distribution. Sorry. No. So that was a little bit of a special plan that you can't just copy and paste to anyone. But it worked out really, really well.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. You have been building up artists like Ivor or Heilung.
Maybe to add, it paved the way for the new album as well.
Yes.
So we bridged the gap and we paved the way. We prepared the audience for the new album. So the overall strategy worked out.
Yeah. So just to translate that, it attracted the fans and the professionals as well around the band.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah, got festivals and everything. Yeah. Thank you. So let's get back to Season of Mist. So you build those artists I mentioned from zero, and you are just having a really uprising career with Ivor right now.
Yes.
They played in Budapest 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So tell me more about that story. How much is by inventing an artist? How much is the artist's work and how much is the label's or management's work?
For Ivor, it's a little bit of it's a trick question because we came late into a career. She was already big. She already had done a soundtrack for Netflix with The Last Kingdom. She already had done the soundtrack for the video game Gods of War. So we came and we already helped an artist that was fully developed. So that's not really relevant. We didn't get Ivor at the early stages. We came late.
Feel to replace and tell me other story about.
Okay. But like what you're asking is what is the recipe for success, and it's really different for every band. If I look at the band that we've been able to build, like in the past, decade, like Watain was the most dangerous, smelly, uncontrollable bands in the world, and then we had a recent success with, I saw somebody with T-shirt here of Archspire. Archspire was just a funny, ridiculously technical band, and so the strategy, they can't be the same for it's not even a strategy, it's about what the band is about and trying to go along with them. Like Catafalque, Tamas is here. That was a slow burner. That's a band that we signed for because it was it was relevant artistically, and we wanted to do it for the sake of the art, and by a constant delivery of good albums and being innovative and creative, it just built itself up like as a slow burner through decades organically. So every band, like how viral that went. Nobody can explain virality. It's like, how do you get like your first show ever and you have 30 million plays on one video for it, on your first show ever? Like, it's not supposed to happen, it's not supposed to exist, right?
But what was your role in it, and how was the work from the inside? How?
For Hailong, when we started with it, it was a band that was very, like, okay, they were very creative and they had a product that we thought was going to be universal, really universal. So we just had to, like, when they exploded that fast, it was really about damage control. Made sure that everything, like, how do you go from playing for a few hundred people for 5,000-6,000 venues everywhere in the world within like 3 or 4 years? You have no idea how much you need to be able to, everything you need to be involved through the logistics chain of merch, the booking, the management, the human resources. And I mean, thank God, Hailong are very clever people and they got their shit together. But everybody, it was like a full-time job for everybody for years. Now they're going to take a break because everybody needs to breathe for a little bit. But like that curve, you need to, when you go that fast, that high, you just to make sure nothing crashes.
Yeah, you need to take care of each other because I just before COVID I saw a band playing in Budapest already for 600-700 people, and they came without a merchandiser because they grew so fast. Yeah. And that was unusual before, and in the last decade it became more and more usual in the heavy genres as well.
I mean, to give you an example, for like when we started merch for Hailong, like for every band, we started with like a few merch boxes. Now we're talking with containers of merch shipped from Bangladesh and China, because it's so big. Like it's on a different scale on everything. So yeah, we learned a lot. Like you just have to control everything and make sure that nothing collapses and that everybody's happy. Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah, and I think it's also it creates a desire for smaller bands that I want to be the next in this one. It's a question for both of you.
What is the recipe for success? That's the hardest question of.
No, I'm not asking this. Yeah. How to answer to these desires as a professional, even from management side or labor side, because.
You go, I go.
I'm sorry. What's the question?
That's a natural desire for artists to say, I want to grow like them and them and them.
Yeah, of course. And you always have these conversations like, they did this, they did that. Can we do the same? Can we do the same? It might make sense in some cases, but you really have to find your own personality, your brand, if you will, and not everything matches your band. And I have these conversations about TikTok like every single day. But TikTok is not for everyone. You know, if people don't dance to your song, you will probably not go viral on TikTok. And it's hard to dance to a death metal song. I mean, you can, but it's not what the TikTok community reacts to. Maybe if it's super funny, yes, but is that what you want for your band? Is that how you want to present yourself to the outside world? I don't think so. But I think it's very important to have this relationship to your audience. This can come in different kinds of shapes. If it's like a Patreon page where you offer them exclusive stuff or exclusive access to content, early access, or it's just one example, right? Or
no, it's a good one because I keep recommending this to the bands that don't focus everything on social media. Build your own channels with direct communication with the fans.
Yes, I couldn't agree more because social media platforms can fade within a very, very short period. I don't know who remembers MySpace, but this went bust within 6 months, basically.
Yeah.
When Facebook came up and made it so easy to connect to people, MySpace was very irrelevant very quickly. And the same is happening to Facebook. I mean, it's still massive, but you know, people went from Facebook to Instagram. Now they move from Instagram to TikTok. It's not, you can't take it for granted. And the hard currency right now is rather the email address of your fan or even the phone number, right? And if you have that, you can probably build a better relationship with them if you use it wisely.
Obviously, and also you can build other channels which keep the band afloat when you are not touring, because some money-wise, like touring is a big pressure. If you're not tour, then you don't make money. If you are not well built up, so you have to make more and more channels to besides touring.
Yes, of course. I mean, music, recorded music, should be one stream of income. If it's physical or streaming, I mean, streaming, we can always argue if the payouts are right. You know, that would be a whole different panel, I guess. But yeah, I mean, if you have a catalog and you have an audience, this will get some money in the system as well. Merchandise, web shop, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael, so same about desires from artists at your label or in your network versus realistic goals. How do you handle those, and what are your answers for when you are when some of your artists are approaching you with the wish that I want to be like them, or I want to play there, or want to be in your catalog at the position like them. So how you reflect them?
Get real. Yeah, you have to tell people that it's not possible. Like, I had some bands one day who asked me, like, can you get me a tour with Muse? No, I can't. No, I can't. That's not gonna happen. But, my reach is okay, but it doesn't go that far. No, I mean, it's your job to like drive a band in the right direction. And what I tell bands is focus on what makes you special. I mean, it's already like I told you, when somebody like us gets 4,000 demos a year. First, the music has to be outstanding. If you're a copy of somebody, nobody's gonna care. So first, the music there's no recipe for talent. If you have talent and we hear it in your music, then we can start talking. And then it's what makes you special. We have some bands where we go with a TikTok strategy. Like, we have signed that band called Avar. The girl is like a model. And she just like a million, she got like with her first video 1 million plays. And it's a party band, it's going to be a fun band, so we're going with that strategy. We want to be the deadliner, that means the band that plays at Vienna Festival that makes people dance, like a Carpet on Brute, like a Perturbator, with this Viking imagery. It's going to be fun, it's going to be like not serious, we're going to go for that strategy. And it seems to be working. There's some of the bands like, what makes you special? Is it your image? Is it your videos? Is it you're good at TikTok? Is it like Lorna Shore? It's good at TikTok, made a fucking huge career out of this. Archspire, funny band. They used that funny aspect to push it through the Instagram, and they are just doing it very well. Like, what is the identity of your band? And we push this first. Like touring, if you're a great touring band, fantastic. But remember, if you tour, if you do 20 dates, and if you're lucky at the beginning, you're gonna play for like 200 people a night. You do a video, a really good video, you can get 10,000 clicks in one day if your video gets noticed and the YouTube algorithm is pushing it. So it's easier to get noticed. Yeah. Like right now, I'm not gonna give a name, but I'm talking to a band. They have like 3 million plays on Spotify with 3 tracks. Yeah. 3 tracks, 3 million plays on Spotify.
The teenagers.
Yeah. And when I reached out to them, I went to a Zoom meeting. I was like, I thought I was seeing my son. They were 16. They're 17 now. And they have, like, I'm not going to get them because all the majors are on it. They don't have a video out. They have very limited social media presence. And 3 million plays, and the quality is fucking amazing. And those guys are going to be gigantic. So it is possible when you're I think the world notices you when there's something special, and somehow when you can push it, and you push the right buttons, it just happens, and everybody's on it. All the sharks were swimming around them already. I was only one of them. And I was a baby shark compared to the other ones around, you know. The great whites were around already. Yeah. So I think it actually works. If your band is bound to be noticed, it will get noticed. I believe that.
Yeah. So we have a few artists here who are self-releasing, also a few ones who are already been working with managements or labels. The question to you is, what are the most effective and affordable digital tools which a self-managing band can use to develop themselves in the digital world?
Well, that's a good question.
You know tons of tools, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there are these platforms they are obviously using, like TuneCore, CD Baby, or whatever they are called. I don't think it's the best solution. I mean, it's obviously the cheapest and it's easily accessible. But if you have a problem there, you're probably on your own.
Yeah, you don't get support. What's the next step? So if you are doing it a bit more seriously?
I guess Shopify.
Yeah, that's good.
Because it's not only something to present yourself, it creates an income stream if you have the right products and the right audience. So it's always audience product fit. And you should early on get yourself a MailChimp account or whatever is the equivalent to that, because this is going to stay with you. And don't let anyone else, your booking agency or whoever, run your email newsletter. You should keep that in your own hands, because that's a hard currency.
Yeah, we are using this with my festival and community. And MailChimp is amazing.
Yeah. And there, of course, there are more sophisticated ways in collating consumer data, but those are usually pretty pricey. I know that because we're looking into some CRM systems right now, but I guess that's for a band that's on its own a little bit too pricey.
Yeah, and complicated to install and maintain.
Yes, you need some IT support for that, to install that and connect all the dots. And
that's more corporate
stuff. It is, yeah, it is. What else is a good tool? I don't know what it's called, but our social media manager, she uses like a platform where she can schedule and prepare all these social media posts. I think, you know, when you're on tour, this is probably a good tool to use. I've never used it myself. But
I don't know which tool is it.
But the theory of it makes sense to me. I don't know. It's
so it's a platform to manage multi-platform posts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. You want to add something to it, Michael?
It's such a chaotic business by nature, but I don't think there's a formula.
Okay, then last question to you about scouting. How because obviously the main method to get into your label is not by sending a demo. How you scout the artist and what's your method in this?
Well, sending a demo is going to be a necessary step at some point, but we are going to filter you. Like, do you have something extra? Do you have something extra? It's like, how good is, like I said, defining what your talent is and pushing it. It can be the quality of your music and how steady your outcome is. Back to Tamás. Now, it can be about how you look or how good your videos are. Or it can, like that, we go back to Heilung, about how unique you sound. It's going to be really like, you have to. Yeah, it's just about finding what is you and put you in a good position forward. And I mean, I and my team, we go to a lot of festivals. We still listen to the demos. It takes a while, but we do get through all of them eventually. And I mean, a buzzing band, it's going to get on my Spotify playlist. And then, you know, at some point, it's like, oh my God, this is good. Like that teenage band that I was talking about, it was an Instagram reel that I saw. It's like, who the fuck is this? It sounded like Sleep Token, but with Grimes singing. It was like, I never heard something like this. I was like, and it was just an Instagram reel, like with doom scrolling, you know. It's like, oh my God, this is good. So there's ways to get noticed if you do it right. It's like, yeah. It's but it's kind of sad, because if there's no talent, then no matter what you do, it's never going to happen. So that's where it's a very unfair and chaotic by nature business. It's
but also live is one of the methods. So you go to festivals and
yeah, of course, all the time. I was like in Malta recently for a metal battle, and there was a ton of bands that could really play, and very decent bands and good energy live, etc. But like that 5% difference of the originality that's going to make a Blood Incantation compared to all the other death metal bands that have been out the past 5 years, why do they stand out?
Yeah. And what was the recipe for Blood Incantation then? According to you?
Listening to Pink Floyd and putting it into death metal form? I don't know. They just do it right. It's not one of my band, but I just love that band.
Yeah.
Really great band.
Amazing
like,
live.
I saw them the first time like in Philadelphia, and in like not in a squat, but playing for like 50 people in a pub, and then already knew like my US CEO is the guy who signed Mastodon, he's the guy who signed Dillinger Escape Plan, so he knows how to build band. And he told me that band's real, and he was right. Like you get it immediately.
Okay, final question to you, and then we'll check if we have any time for audience questions. So. What are the not to do's by approaching a management or label?
Being cocky?
I agree. I think the funniest email I've ever got, and I've posted that on Facebook actually, it's probably 10, 12 years ago, was, "Hi, looking for management."
No phone number?
Nothing. Not even a link to music, whatever. So I blacked out the email address, put it on Facebook. It's like, yeah, that's the way to go. And then someone is like, don't be that mean. Here's the link. Someone from my friends posted the I don't know, a YouTube link or whatever. I mean, the music was terrible.
Yeah.
So was the attitude and the professionalism. So that's a hard no, but this is like a very bad example. But
yeah.
I think the worst you can do is expect your new business partners, even if it's a label, if it's a management, a booking agency, to do all the work for you, because the work ethic is something that will make the difference.
Yeah, it's about working together.
Oh, we have a label now. They will manage all our social media channels. They will care for whatever. I mean, this comes from a really diluted view on music industry, probably originating from the 80s, where you could see all these larger-than-life Tommy Lee-like rock stars who had it all and just played a show and otherwise did drugs and had sex.
Yeah, we're not in the 80s anymore.
It's, well, A, there was just the tip of the iceberg, and B, this attitude is not going to get you anywhere. I think a healthy do-it-yourself work ethic is essential. Yeah.
Michael, any last words? I check how much time we got left. Yeah, we have time for a few questions. Get you the mic.
Hello, I'm David from Closing Town Orchestra. Thank you very much for the information. My question is that the desire of the artist to go viral and really to scale up quickly has been mentioned, and at the same time also the difficulties of the scaling process on your side. Is it always desirable, this high speed scaling up, or is it sometimes better or easier to handle to go for more moderate growth?
You don't get to choose. That's the thing. You don't get to choose it. Some artists are going to explode, and you're going to be in damage control mode right away because the market decides, not you. The public decides. Like Sleep Token didn't decide to go viral, like becoming as big as Slipknot within a year. It just happened, and then you just need to have a structure to control it because it's happening. It's happening now. And sometimes with other bands, it's a 10 years growth process. So you just got to be ready for it. You don't decide, neither the label nor the artist, the public does.
Yeah, so when, as a label or a management agency, when you sign someone new, you consider both paths potential, or no, you don't even consider any future timelines?
No, I would never assume a viral moment. I take it when it comes. Yes. I would never say no to that because you need to. You're like a surfer, you know. You ride the wave when it comes, but when you start working with an artist, a band, you make a plan that's longer than 1 year or 2 years. Sometimes you even have 5-year plans, and you never calculate a shortcut. That's the worst thing you can do. It's like, oh, we can take a shortcut here because it's not going to happen that way. If you have a viral moment, just embrace it. Go into damage control mode if you have to, but I wouldn't sit it out because you have this wish for a long-term career and you think you can this could hurt you in the long run. Just embrace it. Go with it. Yeah.
And is there anything that you could share with us that you look for in an artist that are telltale signals that they might be a good fit for long-term cooperation?
Whether an artist is going to be like, okay, you mean in the relationship with the artist itself?
Well, what might be signs that you look for in an artist other than their identity or the unique differentiator that you might deduct from that sign that this is a person or a brand or people worth investing my time and energy and infrastructure?
Look, it's very hard to say because I had notoriously difficult artists in my life. Like I had Mayhem, I had Shining, I had all the crazies. Vatane, the list is very long. Carpathian Forest, I had all the crazies. Like dealing with them is not the same as dealing, for example, with Heilung or, for example, a Nergal from Behemoth, who's in control of himself, who doesn't do, like, you need to adapt to a person. There's some artists where it's just, like, they are making a career by doing everything wrong. That's Mayhem, for example. And then you have some other people which are, I'm not going to say clever, because that's not the word that applies, but you can work and they're more reasoned, and then you can just work. The relationship is more pacified. And that's also, like, we like working with those artists because they're easygoing, they understand what you're saying, and they try to do the right thing. And there's some who don't give a shit and will do whatever they want, but you still have to do, they're talented enough that you have to accept it. So I would rather work with only easy artists, but that's not the nature of this business. It's like,
Yeah, thank you.
Next question. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Oh, we have one.
Thank you. Hello, gentlemen. My name is Adam, and I have two quick questions connected to each other's. So first off is that a lot of people are saying that, as you said previously, that you can make social media content that fits to the band and is kind of real, and it is really good for the band. It is the same. But how can you, if let's say that these kind of contents going not viral but really popular, but how can you translate these or transfer this kind of viewing, this kind of audience to your music? Because sometimes I see a lot of bands who can get really good numbers, for example, in TikTok or in Instagram, but they cannot transfer it to Spotify. It is a really basic thing, but it's really hard to do.
I just recently, like last week or something like that, I had a conversation about it because there was like maybe 1.5, 2 years ago, every band, or not only bands, everyone in the music industry wanted like, we need to do something with influencers. I don't know if this answers your question to 100%, but I want to share it with you. And so there are these new agencies who represent a bunch of influencers who have like some connection to music, or maybe just like music, or they just like going to a festival for free, whatever. So they bring you these influencers, and they do whatever you want them to do for X amount of money, right? And then you get this reporting, looks really great, millions of views, impressions, but no conversion. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine who runs like a gaming influencer, a pro esports company. He said, yeah, because you guys think you can use them as a billboard. There's no context to that. And I think that it makes sense to me, right? You have to know why do people go on TikTok? They're not actively looking for new music. Well, some maybe do, but most of them don't. They just want light entertainment. It simply replaced the zapping on the TV. You're not looking for anything specific. You just scroll through there, doom scrolling, and it's like, even if they like it, they're probably 95% won't go a step further. They won't click on anything. They just want the light entertainment. And so your content on there has to be so compelling that they have the urge to learn more. How do you do that? If I find the blueprint with it, I'm not going to tell anyone because I'm going to be a billionaire. So, and I'm going to sit on a yacht in the Caribbean Sea. But there's no easy answer to that. It's just figuring out what resonates with your audience. And this, in our cases, and that goes for every band we work with, it's about experimenting. And it's not only about the contents, also the matching platform.
Yes, and my second question is connected to this one. So a lot of people are saying that when you self-publish your music on Spotify, and you have to get in all the playlists, you have to get in the view of the people, but there are sites and there are connections to make this kind of appearance, but it just temporarily improve the view, and it is sometimes decline after that.
What do you mean, like third-party companies that offer you to make a connection to Spotify?
Like these, and these are most of the situations are scams, of course.
I think it's 100% scams.
Yes,
Yeah.
confirmed. The full, like Spotify used to be editorial, that means it was humans putting songs in playlist. It's only algorithmic now. It's only algorithmic. And the Spotify measures something that's called the skip rate. Your song is good, people listen to it, your skip rate is good. Your song is shit, people click next song, you go down on the playlist because they haven't listened to it. So you can have songs which get stuck in playlists for a very long time because people keep on listening to them, and then they can become viral, or the song is skipped and then they go down the playlist. So how do you get into the playlist into the first case is because you have an audience. You're tagged as metal, you already have an audience because you already have, 30,000, 25,000 monthly listeners. Then you have a new song, then you will automatically get into the new metal playlist. And from there, if a song is not skipped, they will tag it as prog, then you can go into the prog playlist, or alternative, or death metal. Spotify algorithm will put you in the right place. And the more people listen to you, the more people listen to your song, the higher you go into the playlisting. So it's really a self-fulfilling circle now. There's no money to buy into this. It's really the quality of your song is going to speak for itself. And that allows the band that I was talking to earlier, I was 17, had no clue what they're doing, got millions and millions of plays because people were like, wow, like the band, follow, listen to it again. Spotify detects it, puts you in more playlists, and you go from being a college band to have like 3 millions just by algorithm and having done nothing, just because your song connects to the public at the right moment.
Well, maybe to add to that, the Spotify algorithm or the whole software behind the Spotify service, it doesn't matter. It doesn't care if you're Metallica or some black metal band from Transylvania. They just look at the numbers.
Yeah.
It just analyzes user behavior and the numbers created with that. So that being said, and even you may or may not agree to that, but even for professional companies like ours, it's very hard, sometimes impossible, to even have a conversation with someone from Spotify's or
they don't pick the phone.
Apple's editorial team, because they are not allowed to anymore. They're working with metrics, with algorithms.
Apple a bit more. Apple a bit easier.
I agree. But Spotify's actually, they're shut off. It's like coders you put in the basement and you lock the door. That's until they're done with the software project. That's how they treat them. And actually, you may know Renaud, who was at Spotify. He actually quit Spotify because he wanted interaction with other people. So because he wouldn't just sit in a basement programming playlists. So I can only, and that's the last thing I'm going to say to that, if someone offers you these services, or even these third-party playlist companies, don't fall for it. It may look good for you or may look tempting for you, but Spotify analyzes this, and it will definitely have a negative impact on your algorithm.
There's a program called Spotify Marquee that I recommend for bands.
Yeah, but that's like, you can't even book that if you don't have like
a certain number,
a baseline of audience.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I agree. The new one, we were just testing the new one, Showcase.
Yeah.
That worked pretty well.
Yeah.
It's kind of expensive though.
Yeah. But you need to reach a certain threshold to be able to start talking to them and doing this.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and knowledge. I think it means a lot, and I think you will meet some of the musicians in the speed meeting section. So Björn, Michael, thank you very much. And after a 10-minute break, we continue about live music festivals and booking.
Thanks for showing up, guys.